Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we will take a look at some new revenge content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
First one is titled, Hope You Like Suspension, Should Have Never Committed Identity Theft. So, this happened my second semester of dorming at my college campus. I had met my roommate at orientation and could kind of already tell she was going to be a pain in my ass. And I was right about that. I had planned on moving rooms to be closer to some friends the next semester. But, let me get to the story that led to my revenge. On our campus, you had to pay for meals using your student ID, which had a certain amount of money on it each semester. You could also use an app that you put your name and ID info into, and it makes it easier to pay. But, the name and ID must match for it to work, which will be important later. Any funds from the fall semester would roll over into the spring. But, then at the end of spring, it would just expire. Because of this, and because I only ate once or twice a day, I had a ton saved up on my card. My roommate, on the other hand, did not. So, I offered to pay for some of her meals from time to time in trade of her picking up the food for us, which involved her using my card twice in person, and then she'd return it. Then, one day, I noticed on my app that my card was being charged even when I was not ordering food. And not just a meal, like a meal for several people. This meant that whoever was ordering, I wonder who, either had to have stolen my ID card, which I had in my pocket when I got the charge, or was impersonating my info in the app, which are both big no-nos on my campus. I was quick to put 2 and 2 together and was pretty pissed. I was initially going to confront her on it, but I decided to formulate a plan instead. That day, I went and ordered a second ID card for $25 to use for later, as it took a couple of weeks to get the new one. I let her charge several things to my card over a good 2 weeks for her and her friends. And she wasn't very good at hiding it either, as they would come to our dorm and eat while I'd just screenshot and send emails to the support team of the app about the charges, knowing nothing would get done until I contacted someone in person. And one day, it got even better, as you can buy groceries with the card off campus as well. She decided to pay for booze with my card. Which doesn't get pinged as an issue on my card due to me being over 21, but she was only 19. Not sure how she got it, but it was just the thing to finally act on my plan. I put my best sad face on and contacted the head of campus living and head of my dorm about the charges on my account. I dropped some hints that it could be my roommate and mentioned I got a new ID and asked what I should do. I was told to order a new card, and once I got it, to deactivate my current ID and use the new one for purchases now, making my old ID have a balance of $0, and also to ping if someone uses it to buy anything. They also told me they would be visiting my dorm to discuss the issue with my roommate. I accepted that and waited. They sent the confirmation email that they would be visiting, and I just decided to add more fuel to the fire. My roommate was groaning about not having the funds for food in front of me in our dorm. I told her I really couldn't help her as I was running low on funds, and she kind of just laughed it off and left the room to probably go use my old ID. I deactivated my first card right after she left, and surprise surprise, she used my info to pay. Except when she tried to pay for her and her friends this time, it was declined, and it pinged that my ID was used. Campus security was called, and she was escorted back to our dorm. Pretty much perfect timing for our meeting with campus living. She was scared shitless when they came to the dorm to talk and look through her stuff. On her phone, still logged into the app, was my ID information and name. And in her dorm closet was a half-full bottle of cheap vodka. And on my phone was a screenshot of said unauthorized vodka purchase. In the end, she was forced to pay me back all the funds she used, in cash, reported for underage drinking, which automatically suspends you from campus living for at least a year, and would have on her record that she performed identity theft, which I also could have charged her for out of school. In the end, I got to have my own dorm for the remainder of that semester and even part of the semester after, because it wasn't put as an available room for new dormers. I did get all my money back, from her parents, who were so embarrassed and apologized profusely. And when she did eventually come back to campus, no one wanted to dorm with her because they knew she had stolen her roommate's ID. I think in the end she rented off campus. Next one is titled, Write Me Up Over 3 Grains of Rice? Good luck finding a replacement. This took place around 5 years ago in a third world country. I started an internship as a kitchen helper for a large hotel chain, and I was scheduled for 6 months of internship in order to get my diploma for a culinary course I was taking. This happened around 5 months into my internship. Given the job because of connections with the higher-ups, has no experience running the other areas of the restaurant, only one area. We have the butchers, bakers, line, cold kitchen, and banquet kitchen. Never actually does his job, just passes it down to his secretary. In all my time there I never even seen him cooking or anything related, not even help out when we are understaffed and overbooked. So, 5 months into my internship, we heard the news that the chef for the staff kitchen quit for unknown reasons. In comes the executive sous chef, boss. He gathered all 4 of us interns and asked if any one of us is brave enough to handle the staff kitchen. So I, being the only one stupid enough, asked to be considered as a replacement, thinking that if I do a good job, I would be absorbed into the company when my internship finishes. He chooses me because I always go on unpaid overtime, bouncing around the other areas of the restaurant to learn as much as I can. Even on holidays that interns are not obliged to work, I go in and work 16 to 20-hour shifts just to help the regular employees and learn. The regular employees already consider me as part of the team and actually cook in the line and not relegated menial tasks like peeling veg like the other interns. So the next day, I start working in the staff kitchen. The work was simple enough. You get 3 hours in the morning to prepare 1 meal for all 150 employees of the hotel by lunchtime, then prep for the next day's meals. The other interns would take care of serving the other employees, and then the stewards do the dishes. I get by for 2 weeks cooking 150 meals: rice, veggies, soup, and protein, with only 2 home kitchen grade burners and other faulty equipment. No wonder the last guy quit. The floor drains would sometimes flood about 1 to 2 inches of water. The high-pressured wok burner is always out of commission. The fryer sometimes works. Every day, I ask for repairs from the executive sous chef, but all I get is, deal with it. Here comes the day of the malicious compliance. The day started as normal. I finish cooking before the lunch rush. All the food is on the bain-marie, and I clean up in the kitchen. Lunch starts at 10 a.m. for the employees because the restaurant staff needs to eat first before service. 10 a.m. rolls around and still no sign of the interns that would serve the food, so no problem. I serve the employees myself and give a call to the restaurant to send down the interns. A few minutes go by, and I get a call from boss telling me that, apparently, the interns were busy in the restaurant. So I asked the restaurant staff who were about to eat lunch if they had any big events today, and they say that it is slower than usual. So lunch rush arrives for the staff. It is in full swing and still no interns. I run to the back kitchen to refill the rice, because Asians love rice. As I was in the back, the staff tell me that there are not enough utensils. Usually, it is the steward's job to make sure there are utensils for the staff, so I call the restaurant to send down one of the stewards, and they tell me that they can't because they are down 2 people who recently quit. So my friend from the restaurant sees me struggling a little, finishes eating quickly, and tries to help serve food while I wash dishes. In comes boss. He sees my friend serving food and me washing dishes, and he asks why we were doing such, and I say that the interns and the steward are not here. He goes into the back kitchen and looks around, then phones the restaurant to send down the interns to take over. He asks me in the middle of the lunch rush to come to the office with him. We sit down and he says that he is writing me up for having a disorganized and filthy kitchen. I say that it is not my problem when there is no other staff there to help me. He says along the lines of, if you want to be part of this company, you have to pull your weight and be a team player under my leadership. If you feel like you can't take my type of leadership, then maybe you should rethink your career choice and not bother showing up tomorrow. So after the write-up, I go back down to the staff kitchen and check my back kitchen to clean up the filth he saw. Everywhere I look, I don't see anything dirty, let alone filthy, except by the massive rice cooker. 3 grains of cooked rice. Boss wrote me up for 3 grains of rice. So I finished up my shift and went home. The next day, I get a call from boss on why I was late. My reply was, I thought about your style of leadership and my career choice and wound up with that this is not worth $1 an hour. I hang up and turn off my phone, then went back to sleep. After I woke up, there were around 15 missed calls. The aftermath, from my friend still working there when I left. Apparently, he was trying to give my job to his friend's son, and he was trying to make me quit. The already understaffed restaurant staff had to take over my work until his friend's son came in a week later, then promptly quit after 2 days. For 2 months, the restaurant staff had to take turns and work the staff kitchen. Apparently, the staff cook before me was also sick of his crap and quit, the same as the stewards who quit after. After I quit, 2 more stewards quit as well and some restaurant chefs. The restaurant was getting flooded with complaints of slow service, but boss never got punished because of his connections. At one point, the restaurant was running on 1/3 employees needed to run it. Last one is titled, All I Wanted Was a Day Off. This happened a few years ago on 2018. I used to work as nighttime security for an office building that rented office space for other companies on Paulista Avenue, which is pretty much the Brazilian version of Times Square, so it was pretty busy. We would work in pairs from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and be off until 7 p.m. of the next day, so work 12 hours and off 36 hours. We wouldn't get days off aside from an annual 20 to 30 day paid vacation. Other than that, whatever day your shift landed on, you had to be there. We were worked there through a security firm that had a contract with the building. So we would have a post supervisor that would work from Monday through Friday during the day shift that was responsible for letting us know if there was gonna be any extra work being done in the building for us to workers from other companies, and for shift scheduling in case someone was out sick, for example, he had to find someone to cover. Now that's out of the way, onto the actual story. Names were changed. So it was around October and I was excited because my girlfriend and I had bought tickets for Brazil Game Show, which is our E3, but there was only one problem. I was scheduled for a shift on the same day, so I had to find someone to trade shifts with before then. So there I was one day waiting for my shift to end when the reception phone rings. I pick up and it's John, my coworker that takes over my shift, and he says he can't make it on time because he's in the hospital with his mother. This around 6:30 a.m. Geez, thanks for the heads up. I say it's no problem and that I can wait. Luckily it was the weekend and the offices are all closed, so I can just chill. I call the post supervisor to let him know I'll be staying late due to John being late, since company policy states there must be at least 2 of us at the post at all times. My partner goes home as soon as his relief arrives and we just sit around talking for a bit. 12 p.m. comes around and John is still a no-show. So I try getting in touch with him a few times to no success. I talk to the post supervisor and he agrees to let me do the rest of the shift since heck, I'm already there anyways and it would be at least 2 hours before someone would show up for me to leave, and this was the perfect opportunity for me to get someone to take my shift for me to go to BGS. John agrees to take my shift on the day of the event, and I remind the post supervisor every day for the entire week to make sure he wouldn't forget and that he would pass this on to HR and the general supervisor. We always had to notify them about shift trades. So the day comes and I'm at the event with my girlfriend and it's just amazing. We were having a great time and about 6:50 p.m. my phone rings. I take a look and it's work. I find it odd since everything was already worked out. I pick up and it's John asking where I am and if arriving soon. Confused, I remind him he's taking my shift today and he says he can't because he promised another coworker that he would take the day shift for extra money, so he had been there all day. I get angry and yell at him that he's been there all day and he knew I wouldn't be coming and that if he at least had called earlier I might have made it, but I was in another city and for him to figure it out and that we had a deal. Later that night I get a call from the general supervisor and he asks why I didn't show up for work. I explain what happened and he had no idea that John was supposed to take over my shift. Apparently the post supervisor was forgot to inform him, and I know that this wasn't done to screw me over cause me and the post supervisor are still very good friends till this day. But sadly since nothing was confirmed in the eyes of our bosses, I was in the wrong and ended up getting a 1-day suspension. I saw it as a win, I could use an extra day off, but deep down I was very angry at John for screwing me over like that. All he had to do was call me earlier and I would have come in no problem. I later learned that he was stirring up trouble with the other night shift as well because he wanted to work nights, because we get a 20% bonus for working at nights here in Brazil. So I knew then that I had to get back at him somehow. A few months later I'm covering a night shift at a different post where John now works and we're working the shift together. We are stationed across the street from each other. It's a large property for a cement factory. I'm in the main reception and he's in the parking lot, in the entrance booth and switch every few hours. After the midnight switch I notice he turns off the camera for the inside of the booth, and says he's gonna take a nap. I say okay and thought this was the moment I've been waiting for, caught sleeping on the job. I can't believe he'd forgot the stunt he pulled on me, and that such a golden opportunity was presenting itself, but not even I could believe what was about to happen. I wait a little and switch the camera on and I hit the jackpot. If only he really was sleeping. Turns out he was doing drugs with one of the women from the neighborhood. I instantly started recording this, but wait, there's more. They start having some fun. I really couldn't believe my eyes, like really? He'll be lucky if he finds a job in this field again. I sent it all to the general supervisor and he was pissed. He came that same night to the post and I don't think I've ever heard yelling so loud. Told John to go HQ as soon as his shift was over and that he was being fired. I was so happy, but wait, there's more. John decided to sue the firm for me having recorded him without his permission. And the firm tracked down the woman that he was with that night. Turn out it wasn't a woman, it was a teen, an underage teen. John was arrested. I didn't want it to end as it did, but hey, karma's a beach and all I wanted was a day off. Thanks for listening.